Hey, welcome back to the channel. So today, we have looks to be an in-between line puzzle. We had done a little bit of in-between line puzzling a video or two ago. I think it's been a couple of videos now. But I don't tend to get a lot of them, so I thought it'd be nice to try one that's kind of solely uh, looking at that sort of thing. I'm not solely looking at in-between lines, but as it being one of the main features of a puzzle. So let's take a look at this one. It's called Just Between Us, You Can Count on Me by Rob Miller. And let's look at our rule set. So we got normal Sudoku rules apply. So every row, every column, and every 3x3 box contains the digits 1 through 9 once each. Most of us know all that by now. Digits along a gray line must lie strictly between the digits in the attached circle. So these are the in-between lines. So what does this mean? Well, it means that, let's look at this guy right here. These two digits, whatever they are, every digit along that line must lie in between those two. So if this was, let's say, a 3 and this was a 7, these would all have to be from 4, 5, and 6. They are in between the 3 and the 7. You can never, you can't have a 2 here and have a 2 on the line or something like that. You know, they have to be in between them. That's what the rule set is stating. Now, a digit in a circle also indicates how many times that digit appears in a circle in the puzzle. And I don't recall if this particular rule set has a name to it. I just don't recall. But essentially what it's saying is if this digit happened to be a 3 for some reason, then we'd have to have 3s in 3 of our circles. So we could have, you know, these all be 3, but we can never have any more than that because this one is stating there are 3 3s in our circles. Same would go for like a 5. If this was a 5, we would know there has to be, you know, 5 different circles that have a 5 in them. Now, there's one last part of this rule in this one. It says every circle in the grid is part of both of the above constraints. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not sure that needed to be stated. Right? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. It must be just as a clarification. I don't believe you have to state that for it to add anything necessarily to the rules. I'm trying to think about why it might. I don't like to discount a written rule. It's usually why you'll see in any of my videos when I write out the rules in the descriptions, I always go exactly by what the puzzle setter has done because I don't want to influence what is being put down in those rules or change them in any way, which may affect the actual puzzle itself. So every circle in the grid is part of both of the above constraints. Okay, I guess that just means that all these circles both adhere to the fact that the digit in the circle indicates how many times that digit appears in the circle and that they are part of in-between lines. Maybe that's just what it is, stating that it's not necessarily that, you know, some of these are in-between lines and some of them are digits appear a certain number of times. That could just be what that's for. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling because that's what I'm doing right now. And let's get started with this puzzle. So, where is going to be a good place to start? Now, we do have a couple of given clues, but not a ton to get us really moving, I don't think. There's a couple of things about in-between lines that I think we should at least ponder for a second. First off, you can never put a 1 or a 9 on an in-between line. Not the in-between circles, but the in-between lines themselves. So any of, on the previous example, none of these could be 1s or 9s. Because if you put a 1 or a 9 in any of these spots, the digit in the circle would either have to go down to 0 to allow a 1 to be between it and whatever the other one is, or it would have to be a 10 to allow the 9 to be in between this one and whatever this is. So therefore, those do not work. Now, can we use that information to determine the locations of 1s and 9s in any situation? didn't see anything where it would. But I just want to make sure there's nothing sitting there. Let's just mark all of our, oh, we can just get rid of that altogether. And see if there's anything that jumps out at us. No, I didn't think there was going to be. What about our 9? Try to look. Okay, so there actually is a little bit there we can use. This 9 is helpful in that regard, because none of these can be 9s. Here because of Sudoku, here because you can't put a 9 on an in-between line, so you must have a 9 in one of these. Therefore, when you look up here, none of these can be 9, so this must be a 9. Now, can we go any further with that? I don't know. But let's take a gander. I would say it's probably not likely that there's more for this 9. These can't be 9s, obviously. No, I don't see anything else there. So, therefore, what the heck are we doing? Can we look at the fact that the digits in the circles indicate how many times the digits appear in circles? Because maybe, therefore, we can rule out 9s, further 9s. Yeah, we can. Okay. So if we know there has to be a certain, whatever this, like a digit is in a circle, there has to be that number of circles total. So what can we say about that? I think we can rule out 9s and 8s from circles altogether. Because if we were to have a 9 in any given circle, we'd have to have a 9 in every single region in a circle. Because you can only have 9 9s in a puzzle, period, in using normal Sudoku rules apply. So in here, there are no circles. In here, there are no circles. So we can never put a 9 in a circle in either of these regions, so therefore we can never get 9 9s. Now, we can also state, well, we don't have a 9 in this region or this region either. So therefore, all of those are out in terms of possibility. So 9 never is on a circle, as well as never being on the line itself. So that might come into more use. Let's take a look at it just to see. I don't see it being useful in this instance. Now, the other thing was an 8. Now, if we were to have an 8 in any of the circles, we would have to have 8 other regions that have a circle that can accept an 8. Now, we already know that these two don't have any circles in them. And we have an 8 here that sees this one, so none of these could be an 8. So we already got 3 of the 9 that are removed from possibility. So that means that you cannot have 8s in any of the circles as well. Now, we can't rule out 8s being on the line just yet, unless we can make some further understandings of what can and cannot have. Well, actually, we can. We just stated that we cannot have a 9 on the circle. Therefore, you can never have an 8 on a line, because the 8 would have to have a 9 in its circle. So we can get rid of all lines involved with 8age. And is that going to help us much? Well, this has to be a 9-8 pair now. Let's put that in. And what we were showing here was none of these can be 8s, so there has to be an 8 in one of these. None of these can be 8, so one of these has to be 8. Now none of these can be 8s, because this 8 looks up in here, plus these, we said we can't have an 8 on the line, so one of these must be an 8, so that rules out this 8. So we get an 8, which is interesting. So let's put our markings here, because I think these markings are going to be useful, because they're going to let us start seeing some things that we may not see otherwise. I want to continue on with my 8s just to make sure I'm not missing anything, though, because we did seem to have quite a bit doing with them. But it doesn't appear that it will continue. Well, these can't be 8s. Yeah, I don't see a continuation of 8s. Now, we've also said that we can't have an 8 in a circle, so therefore we can never have a 7 on the line. Can we rule out 7s in circles? Well, how many, let's just first off see how many regions we have that could possibly have. We know that these two don't have anything. Oops, didn't mean to hit that. So there is technically a possibility that 7 could go in a circle. Now, if it did go in a circle, and I want to look at this because there might be a way to remove 7s from circles as well. Now, if it does go on in a circle, then every region that has circles must have a 7 in a circle. So one of these would be a circle. This would have to be a circle. This would have to be a circle. This would have to be a circle. One of these two would have to be a circle. This would have to be a circle. And one of these two would have to be a circle. So it is possible that 7 can be on a circle, at least from the information that we currently have. So that doesn't help us a ton. Now, the only thing we can therefore try to look at for 7s is, because we can rule out the 7 being on a line, yes, we can. 7s cannot go on lines because we proved that 8 cannot be in a circle. Now we've got a case where we have to have a 7. And I think that's going to give us a big breakout here, because as we're noting, there are certain places where 7s had to go. They have, if we know there's a 7 on one of these two, so therefore there must be 7 7s in circles. Now, we just said if we have to have 7s in circles, there's certain places where the 7 must go. So this must be a 7, because if we didn't include this region, we wouldn't have enough places. This must be a 7. This must be a 7. One of these is a 7. One of these is a 7. And this can't be a 7 because it already has a 7 on it. So you couldn't put 2 7s and then have 6.5s. Or no, it wouldn't even be 7. It would be, you couldn't put 7s in between them because 7 would still not be in between its own 7. That barely made any sense, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say here. This can't be a 7, so therefore this must be a 7. And one of these two must be a 7. Okay, now, can we follow through and say something about a 6? And the answer, I'm thinking, is going to be no here. I think what we might have to do, and the reason why I say no is because we do not have the added information that a 6 couldn't go on a line, because we have a 7 on lines. We know all of them have a 7 on their line, in a circle somewhere. So therefore, you can absolutely put a 6 on a line somewhere. So we can't necessarily remove the lines, is the point. So therefore, we couldn't say like we could on the 7s, say, oh, none of these could be 6s then, so this one have to be a 6, and therefore we have to figure it out. That wouldn't work. In fact, I think we can actually rule out 6s now that I think about this. First off, this can never be a 6 because you can't put you can't put numbers between 6 and 7 on any of these lines. There is no valid Sudoku digit that can't do that. This can't be a 6. This can't be a 6. This can't be a 6. You can't ever have a 7-6 pair in any way, shape, or form. So now we have, there's only 1, 2, possibly 3 regions left that can have, that you could possibly put a 6 in the bulb. So there are no 6s on bulbs. Now, the next thing we could look at would be to count how many of these things we actually have. That might be an easier way of looking at it instead of just picking a specific digit and going about it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. We have 14 circles. We know 7 of those have already been accounted for, so we only have 7 left. So can we say anything about that? Not necessarily, because it could be like a 1, 2, 4. It could be 5, 2. You know, it could be any kind of combination of digits that would add up to 7 in the circles. But using our 7s that we know are in a couple of these, maybe we can figure out options for what this is, because this is going to have to be a fairly low digit. Because if this is a 6, this is a 7, excuse me, and we know we can't go higher, we couldn't do it anyway, even if we didn't have any restrictions here. If you try to go high on this digit, you'd have to be able to fill every one of these up with an 8 and then put a 9 here. That doesn't work. So this is going to go low, but we know all of these digits have to be less than 7. The very least you could do would be 6, or it would be 6, 5, 4, 3. So this one would have to either be a 1 or a 2. So that's a little something. It's not great, I would say, because we can't really make the same type of rulings with some of these other lines or in between lines. Oh, let's look at this one. Sorry, I just noticed this. This can't be a 7 because that's a 7. So let's get rid of our 7 here and put our 7 here and here. And we can get rid of some of this other stuff. I can't rule which one of these is a 7, but we've got a lot of 7s. Can we say anything else about them? Is there anything else? Yeah, we actually can. We end up getting, just looking at Sudoku, we get 7s in here. We know we can't put a 7 on the line because the 7 is in a bubble or in a circle. So we have to have a 7 here in one of these two. And we already have a 7 here, so are in one of these two. So we've got an X-wing on 7. So none of these can be 7, which means this is 7. So I'll put our final little 7 mark here for now. So our 7s are looking pretty good. Can we do anything further with 8s now that we've kind of moved into our 7? I don't know that we can. No, it doesn't really look like it. So if we know that this is 1 or 2, it's telling us that we're going to have a pretty small number in a couple of these. It could just be a 1, let's say. And that would be the only one we could ever put in any of the other circles, or it could be 2 where it'd be paired off with something else. But we know it's either a 1 or a 2, and we said we had to still have 7 more circles that somehow are adding together. Now, that doesn't really give us a ton of information because we still could have the, like the 1, 2, 4 situation. Perhaps. Let's look at that. Yeah, we could get 4 of them in here. We can't do 5. We can't, I think we said we can't do 6. Yeah, we can't ever do 6. We can't ever do 5. Because we don't have enough regions left over. So we can't ever have a 5 in a circle. Because if we put a 5, let's say we put a 5 here. Doesn't matter which one it is. These two see each other, so one of these could be a 5. That would mean we could put a 5 here, we could put a 5 here, and we could put a 5 here. That's only 4 possible options. If you looked at this one instead, it still means that these could be, and then any one of these 3. That's still only 4 digits, so you can never put a 5 on to our circles. Now, is that useful if we start removing circles from possibilities of fives. I think we might still be a little too far out to do that. It does appear so. Okay. We can't have 5. That means we can't have a 2. Can we? No, it doesn't. I was thinking in terms of if we only had 2 more left over. We can still do... We can't have 6. Okay, let's look at it this way. What can we possibly have left over in our circles? We know we have to add up to 7 in some way because we've used 7 sevens, and we had 14 of them. We can refresh our memory. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 was the number. We already had 7, so we have to add up to 7 in some other way, in some other combination of numbers with the remaining circles. We know we can't ever put a 6 on our circles. We don't have enough space for it. Same thing with 5. We just proved that recently. So we either have, there's only 2 situations left then where we can get to a total of 7 adding up in some way. You could either have 2 different types of circles, 3 and 4, that equals 7. There's no other way to make 7 with 2. And if we had 3 and 4, well, what is this? This is an outcast now. It doesn't belong, so it doesn't work. Now, the only other way to make 7 would be in 3 different digits. So 1, 2, and 4 are the only other ways to make 7. So therefore, all of these digits must be of a 1, 2, or a 4. Because we have to break them up some way in that instance. Now, I can put 7 here, and then now that we know it has to be 1, 2, and 4, because we couldn't do 6, 1, 5, 2, or 3, 4, because of this lovely guy over here, that tells us that we have to have a 4. Now, we just said, I believe, that we've got 1, 2, 3, we have 5 different regions, but these 2 see each other that are left over that could possibly be 4. That's 5 regions that could have 4 in them. These 2 see each other, so they never could both be here. So we technically have 4 regions that have to have a 4 in them. So therefore, every instance has to have a 4 so these have to be 4. One of these has to be a 4. One of these 2 has to be a 4. We don't know which one is which, though. But now that we know some of these 4s, we can start to fill in a little bit. I don't know if this is going to be great or not, because we know between this in-between line now, we know that there's the 4s, the low, 7s, the high. So we have to have 5, 6. 5 and 6 are the only digits that can possibly go in between them. So this has to be a 5-6 pair, and this has to be either 5 or 6. Now we can't say, maybe we can rule out, yes, this can never be a 4, which is going to give us our other 2 4s. And I'll run through that if people would stop texting me. If this was a 4, these would all have to be 5s and 6, just like these all had to be 5 and 6. Well, this can never be a 5 or a 6 because we've already proven that these 2 are 5 and 6. These 2 can't be a 5-6 pair because they would break this 5-6. So there's multiple reasons why this cannot be a 4. Now that this can't be a 4, we must put 4 here, and then that'll rule out our 4s here and put a 4 here. Now our 4s are done in terms of our circles. So now we know we have a singular 1 and 2 2s and 1 more 7 to push. So we know one of the ones has to be here. So these can never be 1. So if I put a 1 in here, these would both have to be 2s, which would never work. So we have a 2-7 pair on this, these in-between lines. Now, can we do anything with those? Because that does leave open quite a few things that we could put in them. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I don't know that I'm prepared to do that just yet. I guess what we can say is these are a 5-6 pair, because they have to be between 4 and 7. and they are both in the same region. That creates a 5-6 pair here to go with our 5-6 pair here. Is there anything else? This has to be a 5 or a 6. And that's about all we have with our 5s and 6s at the moment. Well, actually, no, it's not. Sorry, I didn't see this one here. These have to be from 5 and 6. This has to be from 5 or 6. So we can use that. These 5s and 6s and these 5s and 6s look into this box. So we can never have another 5 and 6 here because it would ruin this 5-6. And we can never have another 5-6 here because it would ruin this one. So where does the other 5-6 go? It has to go in this area. And now we know these can't be 5 and 6 because of these two looking down. These can't be 5 and 6 because of these two looking up. We still have to have another 5-6 here, so this has to be 5 or 6. Now, what does that do for us? It gives us a 3. Interestingly enough, because this column has almost everything decided except it needs a 3 somewhere, but it can't go in any of these locations, so therefore this is a 3. Okay, where else are we going to be able to look? We might be able to look at this digit right here and try to figure something out. We're going to get a couple of options, but we're not going to be able to fully understand what this is, I think, because we know it can't be 1 because it's on a line. Now, it could be 2. Well, let's forget that. Let's look at basic Sudoku that I didn't see here, which you've probably seen for a while. This has to be a 2 because of this 1. So this is 2. Let's put that in. Therefore, this is 1. Now, let's go back to what I was thinking. This digit here, what can it possibly be? It has to be between 2 and 7, so it has to be from 3, 4, 5, or 6. It can't be 5 or 6. It can't be 4. So what is it? It is a 3. These two digits have to be from 3, 4, 5, and 6. They can't be 4, so they're either 3, 5, or 6. And they can't be a 5-6 pair, so one of these has to be a 3. I'll leave that there for now. I'm not huge on it, but we do get a triple of 3, 5, 6s with 4s and 7s as well. That actually does help us, which is nice. Because where do we put a 1 in this column? Can't put a 1 in any of these because of Sudoku and what we've already proven. That can't be a 1. This can't be 1 because you can't ever put a 1 on the line, and we already have a 1 here on the circle of it, so this has to be a 1. Now, what's left over in this column? Because we can probably continue with it. We still have to have a 2. That could be here or here. Not useful. We have a 3 on it already here. We have a 4 already. We've got the 5, the 6, and the 7 already, so we need 8s and 9s. This can't ever be 8 or 9, because it has to be between 1 and 7, so these have to be 8 and 9. Now, if these are 8 and 9, the digit that we didn't place previously was a 2, so it has to go here. Okay, now we can also put a 2 up here, because it's the only digit left in this region. And we can't have 2s. Well, we can't have 2s in any of those already because we had a 2 here, sorry. Now, there has to be a 2 over here somewhere. It can't be here because this has to be between 2 and 7, so one of these is a 2. This 2 actually sees this 7. 2 7, so let's just put that in. That's going to give us our final 7, so that's good. A little cleanup. Sometimes when you're hyper-focused on, you don't see some of these real simple markups. When you're sitting back and watching a video, someone do it, and I'll do it when I watch myself. It's like, dude, that's been sitting there for like a half hour or 10 minutes or whatever the heck it is. Why didn't you see that? It's because you kind of get stuck in focus mode. At least that's my excuse, and I'm going to stick with it. So what did that 2, 7 do for us? Anything is the question. Well, it finished our 7s. We know that. Are we going to be able to finish our 2s? We're going to get pretty good, I think, because the 2s in Sudoku now point here, so this is going to go. We have to put a 2 here by Sudoku. We have to put a 2 here by Sudoku, and that's going to finish those up. And we get our 8 here as well. This 8, is it going to give us anything further? Well, it is, because we know none of these can be 8. We can't put an 8 on our line, so this has to be 8. That's going to start breaking out our 8s and 9s. Let's continue with our 8s. see if we can. We can. Sudoku down here gives us an 8. We're also going to see up here, we've got some issues, but not quite enough. I think that was it on 8s that we could do at the moment. How about 9s? Because we did get another 9. Correct. We can't put a 9 in any of these, so this is 9. One of these two is, I'm not going to quite mark that yet. One of these two is, actually that will work actually for us. I just said actually twice in the same sentence, didn't I? Awesome. None of these can be 9s. So let's show what can be 9. None of those can be 9s. So we have an X-wing and 9. So one of these and one of these has to be 9. No matter where we put our 9 up in here, it's going to force the other, it's going to, like this is a 9, then this would be a 9. If one of these was a 9, this would be a 9. So we always have an instance where we have a 9 in this row, this column, and a 9 in this column between those two. So therefore, none of these can be 9. Looking down at this box, now we've got 2 9s already looking up here, so we force our 9 here. And we also end up having the 9s looking up in here. We can't put a 9 on there, so it has to go here. And that's going to put our 9 here. And that's going to finish our 9s, is it? Is it? What did I... No 9s in any of those. One of these, no, it doesn't finish the 9, but it does give us our last markings because we get an X-wing of 9s here. Okay. Now that we've got a bunch of stuff in our grid, let's start looking to see how we can finish things. Very much like, I was going to say a stupid joke, I'll leave that one alone. So we have to have a 4 now in this column, and it can't go here, so it must go here. And we also have to have a 1 in this column, which therefore has to go here. 3, 5, 6. This has to be from 3, 5, or 6. It could still be 3, 5, or 6. Same goes with these. These have to be from 3, 5, and 6. They all work perfectly fine between the 1 and the 7. These two digits are given of 3 and 4, but we have a 4, so let's put our 3 here and our 4 here. That might clear some things up for us. It does, because in here we have to have a 3. We can't have one down here anymore, so that's our 3. We said these have to be 5 and 6. Now that we got rid of the 3 for this column, we've got a 5 here, so this is 6 and 5. So we can get rid of our 5 marking here. And we should be able to finish this Sudoku up in short time. This has to be a 1. This has to be from 5 and 6. There's a 5 there, so 6, 5, 6. Our 6s and 5s are going to unravel here, it looks like. 6 for the most part. Now these two have to be 3 and what? 3 and 4. I don't have something that can tell me what those are just yet, so. What else can we look at? This digit, we said it has to be between 2 and 7, so it's from 3, 4, 5, or 6. It can't be 4, but that's the only thing it looks like it can't be, so I don't think we're going to get anything there. Let's look around. 1, where does a 1 go here? It's got to go here. Maybe we can finish off our 1s. Or at least get them semi-close. Well, actually not. We get a 1 up here somewhere. These actually end up being 1, what are they? 1, 4, and 8. 1, 4, and 8. We've got a given digit here, which is what? It's either 3 or 6, and it can't be 6, so it's 3. So there we go, 6 and 3. This has to be 5 or 6. We've got 5 here again, so 5, or 6 there, 5 there, 6 there. These 3 digits we can just write them in at the moment. They are 1, 3, and 5. This is not 5, this is not 1. That seems to be all we can do with those. Okay, so we got 5, 6. Oh, the 1 here says this can't be a 1. This can't be a 4 by that 4. So we've got, this has to be from 4, 8, or 9, and it can't be 8. But it could be 4 or 9, so that's not helpful. these have to be from 1, 4, and 8. We've got a 1 and a 4 looking here, so this has to be 8. It's the only thing left that can possibly go there. This cannot be 8 anymore. I'm going to clean up as I go. This has to be from 1 and 4. That doesn't do much, but the 6 down here does see this. So this is 5 and 6 and 6 and 5. That should be the ends of our 5s and 6s, right? It is once I fill in these. And 6. Let's just make sure we're done with the 6s as well. We are. Okay, cool. Now, we should be right at the end of this. So let's see. Oh, this can never be a 1. I just saw that. So this has to be 3. 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 8, 1, 9, 8, 9. And these last 2 digits are going to be given. So this has to be 3, and this has to be 4. And there we go. You solved the puzzle. Solution is correct. Awesome. So that was a fun one, and I really enjoyed getting to kind of focus on an in-between line type of puzzle. Even though it did have the digits and circles, whatever the name of that is, if it has a name, other than what's described, as a nice little jump in to get you started on what can be in those digits. So, Rob Miller, thank you very much for this puzzle. I enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.